Chapter 2. A group date, maybe. What was the name of chapter 1? They didn't even tell us that it was chapter 1. So, okay. 2 years. It took 2 years to see her again. Oh god, now this again. By that time, my majoring was very, very well underway as I was starting to be used to the university lifestyle. I was living on my own inside a gloomy one-room apartment for less than a year. I had zero passions and only knew how to do one thing correctly, which is, of course, studying. What? Not even masturbating or something? Dude, what are you doing? As if it was the subject of a curse of a long time ago. I didn't know why I was so into it. Yeah, I'll probably have a lot of doors open up to me in the future, but what if I don't want to enter any of them? I have no motivation to climb up the ladder, and surely wouldn't know what to do with all the money being thrown at me. But I guess this type of attitude could attract some people, as if they know talking to you would inevitably boost their own self-esteem. That's how I made my first friend since, well, have I ever had a friend before? Well, it's not as if I was seeing him as a friend either way. He was in most of my classes during high school and took that as an opportunity to start socializing with me during our courses together. I went with the flow, finding my own amusement in his somewhat carefree demeanor. That's when one day, out of nowhere, he decided to invite me to this, I don't remember how it's pronounced. I can't call it a date. A group date maybe? Fuck it. Anyway, it was this thing where a group of men and women of the same age, and logically of the same number. What? Men and women of the same number? I don't get this. What does this mean? Meet with each other for almost the first time in an attempt to find love. Seriously, what does the same number mean? It was obviously a cheap excuse for trying to find somebody to empty our load. What? Somebody to empty our load in. God, fuck me. This caught me off guard because so far the game has been... It hasn't been going this way. Let's just put it like that. But whatever. To the point I was in, it didn't matter all that much. Trying to fuck someone was, as most of the men my age, any age really, one of my priorities, even though pretty much inaccessible. I didn't get out of my way to try and have sex, and that's probably the reason why I had zero sex. What? Why I had zero sex life? It's again a weird way to put it, but alright. So I accepted. He was kinda odd though. He said to me, "You won't regret it, Tim. I even have a surprise waiting for you." And he would laugh like an imbecile. He was an imbecile. And I only realized what he meant by that when I entered the bar we were meeting at. It's her, right? Man. Both of you would probably have a really good hate fuck. They were 7 waiting 8 with me. There were 7 waiting 8 with me, right? Oh god, Jesus Christ. Broken English really fucks me up since I'm not a native speaker, and if it doesn't make sense, it just trips me up so hard. 4 boys and 4 girls. 2 of those girls were completely unattractive, fat, with a big chin and a weird hairstyle. Like this and this? I mean, the hair is okay, but the chin is kinda a no-go, right? The other one was already almost in bed with that big-mouthed guy, so those 3 were unfuckable. That was my first thought about entering the bar. Oh, these are unfuckable. Usually the first thing you think when you see someone. Are you fuckable or are you unfuckable? I don't know. The second thought wasn't as different as the first one. It was still very surprising indeed. It was her. She was there, drinking a beer, casually talking with that other guy. Sports-like type, a Chad. Another one unfuckable, but, of course, not for the same reason. I should just get out of here. This is so pitiful, it's not even funny. That's when Mike, my friend, noticed my arrival and forcefully introduced me to the group. Oh my god, he looks weird. Oh, this is the guy I was talking about. Hey Tim, come, don't be shy. We were waiting for you. I almost clicked my tongue out loud, but thought otherwise. Maybe that big chin one could be fuckable with a couple of beers. Please, you two, feel free. No, wait, you don't even need to demonetize me anymore, YouTube. I'm not monetizing anything. I sat next to my friend. I tried not to look too much on the right-hand side of the table because the symmetry irritated me somehow. He said my name out loud and said everyone else's name right after. I don't remember any of them, and seriously don't want to use even the most useless part of my brain to stall one of them. I still politely greeted everyone, until it came to that name. And I could introduce you to Cassandra, but I guess I don't have to, right? Ha ha ha. I looked at him, annoyed. He's clearly happy to introduce her to me, as though me meeting her again would make me happy, like it's a gift or something. Why the fuck does he even know the fact that we already knew each other? Maybe because, you know, just thinking. In middle school and high school, you were pretty obsessed with this girl, and I don't think she was the only one noticing. Just me thinking out loud here, okay? I said, yeah, with a hand scratching my hair, a bit flustered. Likewise, she didn't look my way all that much and only said hi, with a voice that could be misunderstood too as a whisper. I'm grateful for that, even if I harbored hate for her for the most part of my life, and probably still, the fact that she understood my reluctance to face her was what saved the little composure I had left. So I was able to enjoy my beer while chatting with the group of people around me, and it didn't disturb me all that much that she was actually there. It was just that, in the heat of the moment, I didn't know what to think of. I didn't even understand the feeling I had for her anymore. I hated her for such a long time that for me it was as though she wasn't even human. And the fact that she disappeared completely from my life at one point, my mind only assumed she was dead. So a non-human presumed dead, looking so lively and joyous, it was only natural that I was baffled a bit. You know what this reminds me of? If you ever have an ex-girl or boyfriend, I think this, and you meet them again, this is what it feels like, I think. Yeah, that's a good reason. Oh. She was sexy, no longer cute or beautiful, sexy. She had a blue shirt which underlined well her overly seductive forms, a black skirt that I couldn't see very well due to the table, and her hair was loose and ended a bit under her chest. I tried not to look at her, but it was hard when surrounded by ugly girls. I still did what I must and tried to hook up with this chin girl in front of me. After an hour and a half, I was at my fourth beer and the first couple decided to finish the night alone. This made things a bit more complicated. Now there were me, the fat girl, my friend, the big chin, the sports dude, and whatever, the other girl that I once knew. So it was obviously becoming harder and harder to actually not interact with her. That's when the phone of the girl in front of me, chin, started vibrating. She became kinda hysterical by it. I think it was a message that she received on her phone. She said a couple of words to the fat girl seated next to her and then took off. The fat girl looked at me a bit awkward and said, "Sorry, her ex just texted her, so... what? If... This is the worst excuse I've ever heard in my life to leave a table." As if it was the most understandable thing in the world. So that ugly chick just dumped me for a guy that probably flushed her a while ago. Stupid bitch. I was depressed, but not for her departure per se. Obviously, at least the alcohol started to do its work. That's when everything started to turn into the wrong direction. My friend, who was seated on my left in front of the fat chick, was now seating on my right. The sports dude who I once chatted with, that girl, was now enjoying his time with the fat chick on my left. That's when I realized that my friend, without notifying me in advance, started a group conversation with her and me. So, from where do you two know each other? I was staring at the table, or maybe at the beer in my hand, trying not to look too interested. I think she answered him something while giggling, but I don't remember all that much. She too seemed to be drinking quite heavily. Oh, whoops, did I skip something? No, I didn't. Weird. So she answered, but we don't really hear what she answered because, obviously, Tim is too cool to listen. That long. Man, I bet you're glad to be able to meet each other like this. Maybe it's faith, who knows? I think you mean fate. But, oh, again, that's just me, isn't it? Haha. He was irritating me. It was so obvious that he was the one who pulled this off. Perhaps they were in mesh with each other to humiliate me or something? That's when I uttered something that I probably shouldn't have. I don't know why I thought it would be a great idea. Tell me. I looked at him with a bit of defiance. How do you know that she and I knew each other anyway? I looked at his every change in expression. I probably thought he would be confused, unable to explain himself properly. But that wasn't it. He was surprised that I didn't know the reason behind it. Come on, man. Everyone in high school probably knew about it. Don't you remember? That nasty girl with her friends who were starting bad rumors about Cass just because she just quit school? What? Yeah, that's me. Fuck, now I remember. Oh man, I remember still. You were so ruthless. You walked up to those girls and started insulting the shit out of them about how uneducated they were, how they were wasting their time and had no future. And then you started numbering every achievement Cass has ever accomplished. To the prize she won during some piano competition, to the national rank she topped with her academic results. And you know I'm not one to hit a girl or anything, but this one was so asking for it. She didn't try to listen one bit and was continuously cutting you off about some bullshit she heard somewhere down the street. How ridiculous. This was when I was still very much on edge from losing what I thought was my only drive in this world. Some bitches were bad-mouthing her about something along the line of prostitution or something stupid like that. It was the week after she had quit school, so... Not really the week after she had quit, but the week after you learned that she had quit, right? Because it was a month and a half ago by the time? Otherwise it wouldn't make sense, but... Well, maybe he defended her without knowing that she was already gone, I don't know. But then again, it shouldn't have come to me, or rather me, as a surprise that she was gone. Anyway, anything goes, I guess. But then, since they had nothing else more useful to do, they started to say some bullshit about her cheating during her exams, or giving sexual bribery to teachers in order to top higher in midterms. Saucy. That's when I lost my shit. Because telling those ridiculous things would insinuate that the rival I always thought as my equal was nothing more than a fake. And this was completely unacceptable. And yes, I would have beaten the shit out of them if it weren't for the teacher meddling with it. Hey Tim, do you remember what you shouted at her to make her shut up? ... Oh, memory time. Enough! Even if she prostitutes herself or even cheats during the midterms, doesn't change the fact that she's way better than the lots of you. At least she achieved everything she ever set herself out to do. You low-life bitches will never understand the meaning of the term achievement as long as you still live in this world. Do you understand? You worthless pieces of shit. No, that's not as savage as I thought it would be. I remember it down to the very last syllable. I have no fucking clue why though. He said it out loud. Not nearly as perfectly as I remembered it, but it was still surprising hearing it from someone else's mouth. I then instantly noticed her blushing by understanding the meaning of those words. This was bad. This was a misunderstanding. I never said this in order to protect her. I said it because at that moment I knew for a fact that you were head over heels for her, and I found it so tragic you probably never had a chance to say it to her, so you can understand why when I met her out of absolutely nowhere at my part-time job. He points casually towards her. I had to try and arrange something out for the both of you. He's kinda a good friend, I think. I feel really bad about him being friends with Tim because Tim is not a good friend, I think. So that's why you invited me here tonight? I was then at my 5th beer, and I was not what we could call a heavy drinker back then, so I was agitated alright, just it was easily concealed by my wasted features which were naturally much more blatant. Yeah man, what else? We're friends, right? You look so down all the time, I thought this might cheer you up. You didn't have to. Seriously, you didn't have to, you fucking idiot. She wasn't saying anything much. Oh, she's smiling, this bitch. She was looking my way silently, but I couldn't muster the strength to look at her directly. I wondered why she was so silent when he was saying all those things which were directly related to her. Then... Oh, that's my girlfriend texting me. Sorry guys, got to go. My useless friend got himself up in a hurry. What do you mean? You have a girlfriend? What was he doing here then? Yeah, tonight was for you, man. Oh my god, he's such a bro. He approached me ever so slightly, his breath bringing the stench of warm beer with it, and whispered to my ear, "Enjoy yourself, will ya?" And with this, he disappeared without a trace. Well, not disappeared, but I was intoxicated to a point where the actions my mind perceived around me were as though they were made in fast forward. Sorry, life and time were moving rapidly without my consent. This was extremely awkward. I turned to my left to ask the other two what they planned to do. I desperately wanted to end the night right then and there, but hey, have you any idea what? There was no longer anyone seated there. Noticing this, I looked around me to realize that she and I were the only ones left at the table. They took off 10 minutes ago, maybe, or was it 15? Sorry. I can't giggle, for the life of me, I can't giggle. For the first time that night, I made eye contact with her. Her face was flushed, slightly red by the effect of the alcohol. It would have been visible to a blind that she was totally wasted. I didn't want to speak to her. I didn't want to have another minute wasted in her presence, but social etiquette was forcing me to. At the very fucking least, make sure she doesn't die before reaching her home. Why do you... This game is about her lying to us, but I feel like you're lying to yourself most of the time, Tim. Let's get out of here, I said pretty coldly. She accepted right away. What is she thinking we're doing? She didn't show any fear of being alone with me, even though we were complete strangers to one another. Wanna take a cab? I asked forcefully, but she said, "Let's walk for a bit, alright?" I clicked my tongue, but this time I made sure she heard it alright. She didn't mind, or at least she didn't show it. Fuck, she's such a cutie. Tim, I hate you. Seriously. I wonder what she has to do for me to start hating her now. She had a smile plastered on her face ever since we left the bar, not slightly affected by my cold behavior. She looked happy, irritatingly so. We didn't talk at all. We were completely silent, and it was alright with me. It was alright. Until she stumbled a bit on my shoulder accidentally. What? Sorry. Her body touched mine. Oh god, I think I know where this is going. I don't want to prediction time this though, just in case you haven't figured it out yet. Her body touched mine. I felt, for the 2 extremely little seconds it lasted, the form of a breast on my arm, and then the palm of her hand on my shoulder. It was then that I realized that she was a member of the opposite sex. She looks happy, doesn't she? With the happiness that she stole from me. If she hadn't quit school on that day, I'm sure our expressions would be reversed right now. Yet, she's always been the one with the smile in the end, while We continue walking silently, but we're somehow closer now that I helped her back on her feet. Wait a minute. Isn't it that kind of situation? You know, that one where I walk her by the closest hotel, and she's too wasted to understand what's going on. Maybe, if I ask her nicely, she would even follow me willingly? Maybe she's still a virgin. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I couldn't satisfy myself by taking away her pride back then, but what about now? I could probably rape her and take this away from her, that pride, and most of all, that smile. My jeans are starting to feel tight by those simple thoughts. You're getting creepier by the minute, Tim. I take another hard look at her. Yes, what a beautiful body she has. Those hips and those breasts. Even her lips seem obscene right now. It would be a total shame for her to be entirely ruined by a complete stranger. To be completely stained without any means of getting this purity she had back. I could probably play with her over and over again until her mind becomes as hollow as mine. It has now reached its complete magnitude. A throbbing sensation is starting to be felt in anticipation for this forbidden act my thoughts are drowning themselves in. One simple look at me would have probably given it away, but she's too preoccupied with trying to walk straight to even look my way. Imagining such pressure, so tainted with the sin of my imagination, let loose without any restraint, only pushes me further down this unforgiving path that shouldn't be crossed. But I already decided, didn't I? I'm already fantasizing on her purity only to increase the pain I would most definitely inflict onto her. I want to make her cry, realizing she will lose something she will never get back. At that time I will lick every last tear from her face until she's completely drained out. My hand approaches her thigh slowly. If I can simply get my hand around her to help her keep her balance as an excuse, I could easily control her destination. That moment will seal her fate, and at that time I will rip away that smile from her perfect face that I always hated so much. Maybe, at the end of the day, I will be satisfied enough to forgive her. Maybe, at the end of the day, I will finally become whole again. The only thing I regret is not having acted the part at the start of the night. If I had faked to be gentle and caring, had laughed with her about how young we were back then, I could have pushed her even further down the road of complete hopelessness by betraying even her expectations. She said softly out of nowhere. I abruptly stopped my hand from getting any further. I didn't notice because I was too focused on her alluring forms, but she was looking at my face. For how long? I have no idea, but she saw it. That, I'm sure of it. My disgusting expression, already tarnishing her with my eyes. She saw everything, and yet, the only thing she said was, I'm sorry, I knew how much you hated me, yet I... Then she stumbled up on me again, with even less restraint. Her eyes, those eyes, I remember. Were they really this way? It can't be. I stopped brusquely. By that means, she stopped to herself. Do you have any money? I asked mechanically. Not much, she replied, as if knowing the question would inevitably be asked. Can't be helped. I pulled out my phone and again mechanically inputted a string of numbers. What are you doing? I didn't reply to her. I didn't even look away. Instead, Yes. At the intersection of... And I put away my phone emotionlessly. Tim, I thought it would have been nice to talk for a bit. Don't you wanna? She seems let down. What does this woman want from me? Didn't she see my face just a moment ago? Is she that desperate to be raped by some loser like me? I take my wallet out, take two $20 bills, and shove it in her hand violently. The taxi will be here in 5 minutes. This should cover the bill. I turn around without waiting, or saying goodbye for all that matter. She doesn't say anything either. She simply looks at me with those eyes. Those eyes which are even colder than mine. Wow. Chapter 3. An unexpected encounter. I'm quite enjoying this. Man, chapter 2 was pretty good in the second half, I think. The walk and his thoughts and stuff, really dark and disturbing, but I quite like that sometimes. I had hoped to never see her again. And for the better part of 2 years, it turned out pretty much that way, so wow, we're kinda old now, I guess. I say kinda old, still younger than me IRL, but whatever, right? I might have glanced at someone with similar features once or twice during that time, but I simply avoided coming closer to that particular person in order to escape the chance of an encounter. I had graduated from college and was now working for a company for less than a year. I diligently focused on my work the same way I did during my time at school. Even though I didn't have any ambition, the way I did my work mechanically like a machine was something to be proud about, supposedly. At least, that's how my paycheck saw the whole thing. My life seemed to have been pretty much set in stone by then. I even finally found a girlfriend, wow, who could deal with my boring self and my even more boring life. So I had someone to fuck a couple of times during the week to efficiently evacuate my stress. God damn it, Tim. You're such a... I don't know what you are. You're such a weird guy. I didn't love her. I think she knew it. Did she simply turn a blind eye? Or was she too using me for her own interests? Doesn't really matter. I don't think she loved me either. Not that I think I would love myself even if I was forced to. It was a night like many others. That particular client loved to meet in a peculiar environment, even if it was only to speak business. Not that he was the only one with such special requests, and to be honest, it didn't bother me all that much. It was the third time maybe that I would come to this place. Normally, we would meet on a Tuesday, but because of some unforeseen inconveniences, he decided that we should meet on the following Thursday instead. It was a place that could be attributed to the category of adult entertainment, yet it wasn't a traditional strip club like most men would think of when hearing the term adult entertainment. No, it was a place a bit more classy, but don't misunderstand, alright? The theme around the whole establishment was very much sex indeed, but instead of the term prostitutes, the women would bear the name of hostesses. And instead of dancing nude around a pole indecently, they would simply serve drinks and food to the clients, all the while sitting around the table with fake interest on the client's pathetic life. Let me guess. Prediction time again. She's working there. And she'll be at our table. Some people might probably wonder why such a business would be categorized as something similar to a strip club. But what you need to understand here is that every woman serving in that particular establishment can be bought for the night. The only thing is, you need to pay the high price, alright? Those women are high quality prostitutes after all. So I was with the man, speaking of everything except meaningful topics, until the hostess came in. She started asking if we needed anything to drink, but became agitated in the middle of a speech all of a sudden. Probably because she finally understood with whom she was dealing with. Because, obviously, it was her. She was there, in front of me. Those eyes, this smile. I could hardly believe it. She was as beautiful as ever, and with what she was wearing, a tight, sensual black dress. It was hard not to think of anything else but sex when looking at her. Those dark urges that made their apparition 2 years ago, the vulgar and evil passion which had driven my mind completely wild back then, everything that I felt on that single night was rekindled instantly. The woman I thought might have been a virgin 2 years ago was working as a prostitute. For how long has she been doing this? Again, she made a fool out of me. I fought those urges the best I could on that night, thinking how wrong it would be to subject those evil intentions onto such a pure and delicate woman, when in reality, she was stained since the very beginning. She probably even wanted the damn thing, forcing me to pay after the fact, probably. How sly of her. How fucking sly of her. Looking down on me like that. Fucking bitch. This time. ...